And then I need preparing. Let me turn my phone off. Oh, wait a minute. There's the go live button is not.
It'll come up.
Does it take a minute in the back of studio?
It's 20-second delay.
Oh,
We always
there it is. Okay.
Go live.
Right. I did push go live back here. All right. Got it. Let's see. I think we're live. Okay. We never know if we're actually live. So I'm just going to start us off and say, welcome, everybody. We have another Tuesday Talks for you guys, and we're so excited to be here today. How are you guys doing?
Excellent.
Yeah, oh, good.
Right? Yeah.
I drifted off for a second.
We're live, Kaz. We're live.
Sorry, I was reading the chat.
We have the lovely Dr. Amelie Biskup joining us today. We're so excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
Yay. You guys may recognize Emily's voice from our messages with your guides or messages from your guide sessions. But Emily is also a natural functional medical doctor, and she treats her patients with applied kinesiology and is very intuitive, works directly with her guides to bring forward the information that her patients need to help them be healthy and figure out what they need to do to get the illness out of the body, right?
That's right. Yep, that's right.
Wonderful. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Excellent.
Are we awake? Hello?
No, I am excited.
Kaz drifted off again.
We're in another dimension today.
How are you, Heather?
I'm fantastic. Fantastic. Happy to be here. Let's see who we've got in the chat today. Hey, Edie and Sarah and Janine and Song is here and Rebecca and Violetta. Good to have you guys with us. Yes. So Emily is a wealth of knowledge. All sorts of things that she can help with. So if you guys have any questions as we go, be sure to put them in the chat so we can answer them. And as Tony said, if you'll put them in all caps, we might be able to see them a little more easily.
The loudest one gets answered. Yeah.
Yes. The biggest text.
That's right.
Well, let's dive into this. Oh, go ahead, Tony.
Well, that's what I was doing while you were asking us how we were doing. I can't multitask.
You were chatting.
I was typing.
Typical bloke. Shouldn't say that. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
Well, let's dive in. I want Emily to tell us a little bit about her journey, how she became a functional medical doctor, and a little bit about what exactly that means.
Okay, yeah. First, I have to correct you, otherwise I'm going to get in trouble. It's just
Did I say it wrong?
I can't say medical. I am not a medical doctor.
Oh,
and I will get in so much trouble. I know. It's a little thing, but they will take me down, I'm telling you.
Wow. Now, tell me why that is.
So you can only say medical if you prescribe pharmaceuticals, which I do not do on purpose. And that's the point of what I'm doing, is trying to help people heal naturally. So natural functional medicine is really just a term, an umbrella term for trying to figure out what's really causing an illness or a symptom and getting to the root cause. So that can look like anything. It can be something physical or chemical, emotional, and as all of these beautiful souls know, it can be spiritual in nature that's creating the issues to get your attention. So for 16 years, I was a chiropractor by trade, and I had my own practice right out of school, and I adjusted full body, spine, cranials, extremities, everything. And I've always done applied kinesiology. So What that means is muscle testing, if anyone's familiar with that. And it's a technique taught in school to address everything in the body. So as chiropractors, we learned that all of the organ systems are connected to the spine, first of all. So they all have nerves that come out from, your heart going back to your thoracic, your thyroid going to your cervical vertebrae. So everything's connected. And so we always were taught that the body always wants to heal itself. So one of the ways to do that is through adjusting the spine. So when you adjust the spine, it opens up those pathways and goes out to all of your organ systems. And then over time, people find they started, would heal from other ailments that they didn't realize they were getting relief from through just the physical adjustment and allowing that energy to flow through the body, connecting to the organs. So muscle testing, you can ask the body questions, which is my favorite part. So even though I was doing all the physical structural stuff, my passion was always, what's going on with this person? What's really going on? And muscle testing to ask their body, what do you want? What do you want to heal? It's basically just asking that question to the body. Is it something physical you need to be doing or changing? Is it something chemically that you're putting in your body that you shouldn't be putting in? Is it something that you need to put in your body that you're not putting in? Is it something that's already in your body that needs to come out? So the chemical question is very complicated and there's a lot to it. Is it emotional? Which I know all of you get to see that all the time. The emotions, trapped emotions, traumas, like you had mentioned, Kaz, earlier, that these things are, create cell memory and the body basically keeps score. And so until you are able to release it, address it, look at it, let it go so you can vibrate higher, your body is going to continue to get your attention through signs and symptoms. And then probably more in the last year or two, I've added the aspect of asking, is it spiritual? So that has been something I've always gotten messages for people, but I never opened my mouth. And so in the last couple of years, I've been a little braver. And when it comes up as a spiritual aspect that their body wants to know or tells me it wants to know to heal something, I'm starting to open up a little bit and bring that forward for patients. So that's the gist of it.
Amazing. So when you say cell memory, can you expand on that? Like, do you understand how the body holds on to that?
Well, I always describe it as Chinese medicine. So in Chinese medicine, they have a great understanding that all of the organ systems hold their own frequency or megahertz. And so according to that, or you can say meridian systems, or you can say chakras, it's very similar in nature, that wherever that energy is resonating at, your body starts to store it and it keeps it as a memory. So I'll give you an example. So with liver, in Chinese medicine, the liver will hold anger over time. So if you're really frustrated and you're angry about something and you just hold it in and you don't let it out and you're not addressing it, you're not talking about it, you're shoving it in deeper every day, people will start to have liver symptoms. So liver symptoms are a wide range of things, but they'll say, I have this horrible rash, I don't know what happened, or I have really bad eczema all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. In different ways you can show liver, and it'll come up as suppressed anger, frustration from something that either is currently going on or went on in the past. And once that comes out and they get it cleared or work on it or address it or whatever, however they want to work on it, then those liver symptoms are resolved. So the body is pretty amazing at storing it where it needs to store it in order to get your attention. And I'm sure all of you have seen how in your sessions that certain parts of the body usually bring up the same thing, right? Same emotion.
Grief in the lungs comes up a lot, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The stomach, the throat. It's usually somewhere down the middle, but it doesn't always have to be.
Mm-hmm. Yep, those big energy centers, definitely.
Yeah.
It's all connected. Yeah.
When you see someone come in and you're testing, when you're testing for these different parts of the body, like how does that work? So if I come in and I'm having symptoms and you're testing, what does that look like? Or how do you tune in and figure out what it needs?
So now, in the last 2 years, a year and a half, I've moved my practice all virtually. So the great thing is I can reach anybody anywhere now, which has been a huge blessing because it's been an expansion of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. I don't feel so boxed in. I feel like the world is ready for this, and it's ready for some bigger answers, outside the box answers, like all of you supply to everybody. And so virtually, I muscle test through myself now. So I used to do it in the office where I would be hands-on muscle testing using your body, and you would feel it. You'd feel that response from your body. You know, I could put my hand over your liver and your arm would go weak. You go, okay, what's going on with the liver today? Let's check it out. But now virtually, I'm muscle testing through myself. So some of you might have seen it before. Some of you may not. It looks kind of crazy, but I use my hands. There's different techniques and there's different ways to do it. But that's the way I've taught myself. And so I'll have you on Zoom like this or just on a phone call. It works exactly the same to me, whatever you're comfortable with. And the patient will tell me, okay, these are all my signs, my symptoms, what's going on with me. And I let their body prioritize. I never guess. I never try to rush into things and say, I know what's wrong with you, because I'm usually wrong is what I've learned over time. So my brain doesn't know. I'll say, I know it's wrong. And then their body will say, that's not right. And I'll go, oh, shoot. Okay. So through the muscle testing, I'll go down, my normal list. Is it physical? Is it chemical? Is it emotional? Is it spiritual? And then I'll break it down from there and write down, give them a list of, this is your new homework and this is your priorities. And so the patient's body always prioritizes for me, which is amazing. So I don't have to guess what's the most important thing you can be doing to heal yourself right now. The body will show it in order, which I always love and appreciate. And then I'm supposed to say, my guides have said, I do most of this intuitively. And that's something I guess I've always done, but never thought about it that way. I just thought, oh, that's part of muscle testing. You get the images, you get the knowings, you get the thoughts, you get what they need pop in your head. Isn't that normal? But I guess it's not always. So yes, I have now come to the conclusion. I'm working with an amazing team of spirit guides, of angelics that help me every single day with every single person. I'm so blessed to have them on board to help, because this is something I definitely could not do on my own. It's a lot of work. There's so many people who have so much going on right now and are just pleading for help. And so without that strong angel team, I don't think I could, I wouldn't be able to have the strength or knowing for what they need, honestly. So, yep.
And they make you say it too. It's Emily and I have known each other now for probably a year and a half or so. And so I get some of the behind the scenes looks at what her guides come in with, but they're so funny because sometimes they want you to say something to a patient and you're like, nope, I'm not going to say that. And they're like, yes, you are. I love you, but you must say this.
Exactly. That's been the hardest thing learning this year, that it's time. And that's why I love that I'm on here with all of you, because this is your world. This is your realm. And I'm just barely stepping into it and becoming more comfortable and saying, okay, this is what the world needs right now. And it's okay to not, especially, I'm in here in Texas, and Texas is very Southern. And when I was in the office, I had to be very careful. I kept my mouth shut. I didn't say anything about spirituality. So I'm trying to learn that it's okay. There's so many people out there that are ready to hear it and are excited to hear it and have been feeling the same way and have been seeing the same things as all of you. And they want to talk about it. They want to ask questions and know more. So I'm excited for all of you, because I see so many of the patients asking, how can I get help? And it's exciting that all of you do what you do, because that's the next level of help for them.
Yeah. This all works together.
I want to know if you're allowed to divulge what kind of things are they pushing you to speak more about?
Well, a lot of it is the spiritual aspect. So they're Heather's heard before behind the scenes, they'll say, you're so careful what you say, you filter everything. You're so worried about what they're going to think. You're so worried about what they believe that you're not willing to step out and be honest with them to tell them what they need to hear so that they can heal.
Right.
And that gets me. I go, okay, you're right. It's true. I kind of go like that because I know this person's belief systems. I've known them long enough. I'm not going to step on toes. And I pretend like what I heard in my head doesn't need to come out. So I'm doing better with that for sure. So that was one of the reasons Heather goes, we need to have you on here because you need to be in front of an audience that is open to all of this, because I haven't been before. So I'm excited to be with all of your followers because they're all open to this. So it's nothing for them. They're like, big deal, right?
Exactly.
We just need to have you on a few more and we'll just knock it right out of the park.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because I remember one of the first ones that you told me about was they were coming in wanting you to tell the new patient, that they wanted you just to say the word Pleiadian, and you were like, nope, I'm not saying that to her. She's brand new. I don't know what she thinks. And they kept pushing you, just say it, just say it. And then when you finally did, she had 2 Pleiadian books in her car that she had just picked up and didn't even really know why. And they were trying to help to validate that and connect the dots for her. So I thought that was so cool. And then she ended up coming in for a session. So
yeah, that's true.
and learning more about her, who she is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably one of my first times I called Heather immediately. You won't believe what I said to somebody today. I told them they're Pleiadian. If anybody finds out, they're going to be just,
I was like, yes, that's amazing. I loved it. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so Scott has a question. Hey, Scott, how are you? He said, why did my liver issues not show up in my session? So Scott just recently had a messages session with us. And I'm wondering, Scott, if you mean at the beginning in the body scan, which if you do, that's because we figured out that the body scan is not really about specific physical issues when we're working with the guides. It's more about looking at what's going on in your mind. We sort of see the same thing, the mind, the throat, the heart, the gut. That part is typically about what do you need to know to help sort of get those systems back in alignment. And if you didn't mean that, if you meant something else, just let me know and I'm happy to answer that.
Yeah, plus not everything will show up in one session. Sometimes it's just too much. So you're just showing what needs to be healed at that particular time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I actually was surprised with those sessions. I think we both were, Heather, when we first started doing them. I thought they were going to be more geared towards healing.
I did too.
That's what I do every day. And so when it came, wasn't our choice what came through. So when it turned out that we found out, no, these aren't for healing. This is for what they need to hear, awakening. I was surprised too, actually. So
yeah. I kept trying to steer you back in that direction and they kept steering you in another direction. And I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rebecca says, are you also using this technique to heal family trauma patterns? And can you? So muscle testing, can you use that for family trauma?
You can, in the way I use, it's called the emotion code. So if anyone's heard of that before, it's an amazing technique. It was started by a chiropractor. And you get to muscle test if the energy or emotions are yours that you created, or if they're absorbed from others. So a lot of people have absorbed emotions that they think they're theirs, and they're just very empathic. And so they're picking up on the world around them and storing those. And then you can also ask if they're inherited. So yes, you can identify inherited, and you can clear those as well so that they don't affect you in your life. Because you might have situations that trigger those emotions, but they weren't anything on your path. They were stored in the DNA. And so you can clear those. And when you clear it from one person, it literally cuts the chain for the rest that had inherited it, if that makes sense. So doing work on yourself, and you have all, I'm sure, learned this too, through this means the emotion code, it shows doing work on yourself will actually release all of the other people from it as well who are connected. So just takes one person to do that to allow the energy to be, cleaned from the family. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I want to ask my question is
Yeah.
because that session that we talked about, that we were talking about the body being a separate entity from us as the soul, and doing more of an intuitive diet and taking care of the body intuitively. Can we use muscle testing? And is there something that we can show people real quick of how to muscle test to be able to find out what foods to eat, what things they should need to do?
Yeah, definitely. The emotion code book does go through extensive detail on how to muscle test. And that's going to be more of the kind that I'm doing. So taking your middle finger and thumbs and interlocking them. And it does, and then you're just doing a slight pull and you're feeling for resistance. And so a lot of people say, oh, that doesn't work. I'm just making it up. I'm just changing it for myself. But it really just takes practice. And a lot of the times it's practice without thinking about it. So it's you using your intuition once again over your mind. So some people will say do the sway test. So holding something and closing your eyes and seeing if you feel yourself being pulled forward or if you feel yourself being pulled back. So the whole idea with that one, it's super simple. That's probably the easiest muscle test you can do. Some people won't trust themselves again on that because the human mind is so strong, right? But there's little ways you can start and really just doing it over time. It's probably the hardest muscle testing I ever learned was to do self-muscle testing. It is much easier to muscle test somebody else. So traditionally, you could even practice on someone else first just to get down the feeling of muscle testing. So, using your arm and holding it out, and you'll be at the wrist point and just gently pushing down and try putting different objects on them. You can have them lay down. I always find that when people lay down, they take their mind out of it. They stop thinking so much. When they're up and they're engaged and looking at you, I feel like they fight your arm. It's so interesting. And then you go, let's lay down. They'll lay down, and all of a sudden you can muscle test them easily. They just kind of stop with the conscious, interaction. So you could muscle test with people to practice, or just keep doing it on yourself. But above all, I would say everybody's intuition is right, and people just don't believe it because you've been taught so many rules about food, so many rules about supplements, what you should do, what you shouldn't be doing, how you should be doing something. And you'll see the person, your neighbor, did intermittent fasting and they look great. So now you're going to do it, but your adrenals are exhausted and you didn't realize that, and you weren't really drawn to it, but they did it. So you're going to do it. And now you try to do it and you fail. And if you had just listened to your own intuition in the first place and said, what feels good to me? What makes me happy? What foods energize me? And not listen to any rules, I would say that's always your best path, 100%.
And I think you can do that just choosing your food in the supermarket, right? Or wherever you go shopping. Asking it if it's what your body needs.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. 100%. Just look. I think a lot of times you're drawn to it, but
listen.
Yeah.
What happens when your body says ice cream?
You might need ice cream.
Well, maybe
I'm like, I keep testing, but it says ice cream every time.
Well, maybe you just need dairy, right? So you do need dairy in your diet.
You could.
So
Yeah, you might need some
Ice cream
fats or
has
some
dairy.
D's. Yeah, exactly.
You just need the ice cream, Heather. Just get the ice cream.
when you said, Amelie, when you said hold an object, if you're testing on someone, what do you mean? What kind of object would that be?
Well, muscle testing is fun because you can hold anything. So people, when I was in the office, would bring me bags of stuff. So they'd bring me bags of food, bags of supplements, bags of allergens, You can test anything. So if you're wondering, am I sensitive to this? Am I not sensitive? And, say you bring me gluten, or actually I have testing kits with the frequencies in them, but you say, I don't know if I can eat gluten or not. Everyone told me to stop eating it. It's something you hear all the time. So we'll ask your body specifically, and is this okay for you? Is it a positive? Is it neutral? Or is it negative? Like it's actually hard on your body. And you can place it on the body and you'll get a weak or a strong. And if you get a weak, then you can go further and ask what organ doesn't like the gluten. And then you can go and test over all of the organs by just touching them. And you'll get a weak or a strong. When you get that change, then you know, your thyroid doesn't like gluten. That's why you've been tired. So you need to take it out. So I can do that virtually as well. So people will give me a list of the stuff, or they'll bring it to the camera and show it. Hey, can I take this? And I'll muscle test it on them. So you can do it with anything. You can do it with the air outside. You can do it with anything. Limitless.
So where would we start if we wanted to try? Because I've done the sway and I'm okay at that. What other tips do you have for people beginning to muscle test?
I would say probably just trying to do it without anything at first. So like this test is probably the easiest, and just pulling and trying to see, and then asking your body questions. You can ask anything. That's the fun part. You can ask the stuff like, is my name Kaz? Yes or no? And trying to get established yes and no and what that feels like to you. And then you can start asking at the grocery store. Every once in a while, I'll see a fellow muscle tester in the store by the supplements over there, kind of like looking at him. And I'm like, yes.
You should go up and start doing it right next to him. I'm like, look, we can do it together.
Exactly. Every once in a while, you'll find them. You're like, there's my people. Yes. So
I'm going to be looking for them now.
Yes.
So I've never seen that around here, but I'm going to look now.
We're going to see them everywhere now.
I know, I'm going to hang out by the supplement aisle and see if I can find somebody.
Or even by the foods. They'll be in the boxes of foods. Which one's better for me? Which one, and muscle.
You see somebody swaying back and forth in the
ice cream aisle.
That would be me. That would be me.
Which one does my body want?
2 tubs or 3?
Oh, it's so true.
Sometimes you just got to do it.
Yep.
So when I've got so many questions, when they say it's a spiritual aspect, where do you go from there to figure out what that would be?
Well, a lot of times that's where that big intuition comes in, and I'm allowing it more. So when their body says it's spiritual, I go, okay, here we go. And I take the time to allow whatever information to come in that their guides want to show me. And I would say, since I've been allowing that, it's very similar for a lot of people. A lot of people show me right now, especially, they're tired. They want to change. They're ready for a new way. They're ready for a new way of living. And it's like their souls are crying out for help. They're saying, how do I get to this next step? And just asking, am I alone? I think that's a big one too. They show me like, I feel alone. I feel like I'm the only one who feels like this right now. And that's been something super repetitive that's been coming up. And I'm sure all of you have heard that. And I've heard it in the messages sessions too, but it's, everybody feels like they're ready to move forward. They just don't know what that looks like. And so when I ask spiritual, some people will, I've had this, oh my gosh, even back when I was still in the office, before I was even allowing myself to say anything spiritual, I would get visions of people on a farm and having big land. And this was right at the beginning of 2020, and shifting completely from this office job in the middle of a city to completely changing, going out, being free. And every once in a while I'll be brave enough to say, have you ever thought about moving out of the city and getting some land? And they go, how did you know that? I'm planning that. I'm looking at property. I'm so excited, but I'm so nervous. So there's a lot of that taking place right now. Just big changes that people want to make in relationships and jobs. They just feel like, what am I doing here? It's almost like they woke up and went, why am I working this job? I don't even like it. That's having a huge impact on their health. And so they're having to be pushed to make a decision. Do I stay and make myself sick? Or do I make an incredible, huge life choice to do something different that will make my soul happy?
That's been coming in the sessions too.
It
They're
has. It's
talking
all
a lot
over.
about everybody sort of being pushed into which direction do you want to go. It's like choice time.
It's definitely choice time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rebecca has a question there. Did you have something, Heather or Kaz?
No, I was just going to talk about myself. It's fine.
Oh,
What were you going to
Carry
say?
on.
what were we going to say?
No. What are you feeling, Kaz?
Well, it's difficult, isn't it? Because it's not just you that you're making that big choice for. It's so hard. It's like it would affect your entire family. So yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
Not easy.
I just want to sell the house and travel for as long as I can. But it's just not realistic.
Eat good food, right?
Yeah.
Well, the boys are soon grown up, and you could do that, couldn't you?
Well, that's it. Yeah, kind of maybe you have to wait till they've done their thing here, and then I'll be like, bye.
Peace out.
Poor kids.
I'm going to the ice cream aisle. You can find me there. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. Got me thinking about it now.
Will someone bring Heather some ice cream? Good God.
Just teasing.
So Rebecca has a question there. Is it when it moves towards you on the sway test, is it good for you? Or is it when you sway forward to it? I always get confused in which way it's supposed to go.
Yeah, so they say when you move towards it, like you're being pulled to it like a magnet, is good, positive. And when you're being pushed away from it, then you don't want it. And that, the funny thing is, people say, well, it's bad for me or this. No, not necessarily. It's maybe just at that time, it's not what you need because you have a higher need. So yeah, that's easy. It's such an easy test. But you have to trust it too, because if you don't trust it, you just think this is crazy, then it's not going to help you. But so a lot of it's just trust and knowing, because you already know, your body already knows. I think that's what comes up for everybody. I'll start telling them, this is what your body says, you need this, and you need to start doing this, and you need to take this out, and you need to put this in, and they go, I knew that. They all know it. And because I'm asking their body questions, so innately, everybody knows how to heal themselves. Everybody does. Mm-hmm. Your body knows 100% how to heal. You just have to stop and take the time to listen. It's just giving you clues. And if you don't listen, it's going to speak louder and louder and louder until you have a breaking point. And then you say, okay, I'm willing to do what it takes to change this. And then you're ready.
Yeah.
Oh, Song said we lost a question. Did we lose one, Song?
Type it again, Song. We'll get her. That last session that I did with the one client, where those messages came through about the body, and the body being basically a separate entity, an animal in on itself, that we share. It's like a shared a partnership, a shared consciousness, that it has a mind of its own. I knew that, but having to hear that in a session, that message come through, it was phenomenal. All we need to do is just talk to our body and find out what it needs, what it needs to heal, what it needs to do. And yep. I mean, that was just an incredible part of that session.
And talk kindly to your body.
Oh,
we
brought up too.
We don't do a lot of that sometimes, do we?
No.
Yep. I always tell everyone, your body's listening, so be nice. It's listening. So if you tell your body, I always have this problem. This is my problem, and I'm always like this. I hear that a lot. People will choose to use it as an identity, and then their body will say, I'm this way because you told me I was this way, but I'm not really this way, but I thought that's what you wanted from me. Their body will tell me, I was listening to you and you said you wanted me to be like this. And so it was following orders, or is following what you said it wanted. It wanted to be sick, to have something to tell people this is my identity. So that's something too.
We hear that in sessions, but it's hard. I've always thought it's hard when you're feeling something or experiencing something to speak opposite of it, isn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah.
It takes practice, I think.
Definitely. Yeah, I think it's learned for sure, because we've been taught, okay, well, you have something going on with you. Now put a name on it. And now you get to tell the world you have that disease. And we've been taught that. So when people come to me and they say, for instance, well, I have lupus, so there's nothing we can do. And they'll literally come to me for help, but tell me this in the same sentence. And I'll have to say, okay, well, you have symptoms that they've named lupus, but let me tell you what your body's doing and why you have these symptoms so you can change it and heal it. And then voila, you don't have lupus. So the whole diagnosis, medical diagnosis that have been pounded into all of our brains, is hard to overcome for people, because they've been so ingrained that that means they have it, something they have, and not something that's just a group of symptoms that are trying to get their attention to change something so they can heal. I always tell people there's nothing your body can't heal from if you choose to do so.
Yeah.
I love that. We all need to hear that more often.
Absolutely.
It also reminds me of, the higher self questions we have at the end of sessions. People ask, 10, 12, whatever questions. And then afterwards, they're like, I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew all of this, but it's just that confirmation.
Yep.
And they trust themselves more in the session than they do just in regular everyday life. And they have the same thoughts.
I'd say 100%. They always say that to me. They're like, you know what? This all makes sense. I guess I did know that. They didn't know they knew it, but they do. Mm-hmm.
They do. Yeah.
Yep.
Somewhere deep inside,
Yep. 100%.
What are you seeing at the moment? Are there any themes? Are there anything that you see on a regular basis, repeated?
Yeah, there's a big theme right now. I don't know if I can talk about it, but
use code words. Spell it out.
Yeah, there's a huge theme right now. So physically, there's themes physically and emotionally and spiritually. I kind of talked about the spiritual one a little bit, but the physical one, I'm trying to, literally, I feel like I'm on repeat all day long as I have patients call me. And it's been like that over the years. I told Heather, in the chiropractic office, people come in and all day long would be someone's shoulder for like a week. My shoulder. And then the next week it changed themes, right? And so right now I feel like I'm in this theme of everybody who comes to me, I'm on repeat for, I don't know if you've heard this word before, if you guys are even familiar or not, but the spike proteins. Have you heard of those before?
Mm-hmm. I've heard of them. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So the spike proteins are new since 2020, 2021-ish. And ever since those entered our world, they have been wreaking havoc on everybody's health. And it's been something that is not diagnosed through blood tests, through any kind of medical test. And so these poor people will be going in and trying to find help, and with horrible symptoms, a lot of GI symptoms. We got the gallbladder with bloat, liver with eczema, pancreas, diabetes have been coming up for people, just stomach pain, and then infertility, miscarriages, period irregularities. For the men, the prostate enlargement, secondary infections, and this is all due to these spike proteins. And so it can be a huge array of symptoms, and people don't realize what it is, and they cannot figure it out because it's so hidden. And I would say for a long time through muscle testing, this sounds crazy, maybe not to you guys, but this would hide from me. I never had anything hide from me before. And when I first saw it hiding from me, and I had that realization because I was shown a picture in my mind, most likely from the angel team, they showed me this is what it is. And they showed me a picture in my mind of the spike protein as I was trying to help this person. And I realized, I went home and kind of looked into it because I didn't know much about it at the time, looked into it, and I thought, oh my gosh, nobody's talking about this. And it replicates in the body, and it's staying within a lot of people unless you're aware of it and unless you know how to get rid of it. It's just causing a lot of unexplained illness, cancers, horrible stuff that's going on. So, you know, if anybody knows someone who's dealing with some weird, strange health issues right now, most likely, and that's a big one I would look into. And then
can we share how those spike proteins get in the body
and how to get rid of them?
I think we can say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
from this channel,
primarily, they are in the, can I say jab? I'll say jab.
Yep.
They are in there on purpose. So the point of them, which they say the point of them was to get the immune system to recognize them and have an immune reaction. So this is what they said, why they used them. As far as we know, it was one of the first times used in these jabs. They've never been used before. So they are new to humanity, and they are very intelligent. So they are, I want to call them like nanotechnology, self-replicating nanotechnology parasites. And that's when I felt like I lost my mind as I tell people this now. You have a
you're in good company.
Self-replicating nanotechnology.
Yeah, when I first started finding them, it was like the body would say, it was confused. The body would say, it's a toxin. No, it's a parasite. No, it's a metal. No, and it would keep changing on me. And I thought, what the heck? What is this? Because before this, the world was made sense. It was, oh, you have a bacteria. Great. Oh, you have a parasite. Great. But now it became this weird morphed thing. And actually, Heather, one of my first sessions going to her was, Heather, I sound crazy, but I can feel something looking at me from these people. And I could feel its presence, like a separate presence. That sounds crazy, not to your company, probably. And I thought, what is in that person? It's not them. And I could literally see and feel something else interacting with me, because I'd worked on these people for years. I knew them, I knew their soul, I knew their energy, and all of a sudden there was something new in the room. And I thought, what is that? So it's become more and more and more. So it's that way. But for the people who chose not to get the jab and are still seeing health concerns, which are a lot of people, they go, well, I didn't get that. Why is my health being affected in similar ways? This seems strange. And I've been seeing it in a lot of the pets, unfortunately. And the way this is I finally figured it out through different sources, that the people who got the jab, the body's really smart. So it's constantly cleaning, and it's constantly trying to get it out of the body. So it comes out through the urine and feces, goes into the sewage, public sewage. Public sewage is turned around, recycled, and where does it end up? In your city water. So now you have a constant in stream, and people will say, well, I have a really good filtration system. I have a 9-step one with the UV, and I have the Berkey, and I have this. None of them are getting rid of these spike proteins. So I think they are so nano-sized that they are getting through. I do know a guy who created a technology to get rid of them, and he is now gone. He disappeared. So I should probably be but just know, if you are all struggling with something where you go, this is weird, I never had this before 2020, what is wrong with me, and you cannot find an answer, I really highly suggest you make sure you're drinking spring water and no filtered city sourced water.
And what about getting rid of them? Is it as simple as cleansing that out of your body, or something else?
Yeah, so you can do, first of all, make sure you're not taking them in. So I always tell people go, well, I'm not drinking that water. And then they'll go to restaurants and they'll get water. They'll go get iced tea. They'll go get soda from the restaurant's fountain. They'll go get a coffee on the way to work. And all of those are city water. So it's an accumulative thing. It'll accumulate and replicate. So I say, make sure you're really not taking them in. So you have to be very careful throughout your whole day. What am I drinking? Where did this come from? What am I drinking? Where did this come from? Because that's the easiest way to keep them out of your body. But then there's some really major supplements that I can just generally recommend for these. One of them is the NAC. You heard of that? NAC or glutathione?
Mm-hmm.
So that was an interesting one because 2021, they took it off the shelf.
They took it off. You couldn't get it. I remember I was trying to find it and they took it off.
Yeah, they took it off and they were in the middle of trying to patent it to use for their own resources for a drug. But thank goodness we have amazing natural companies and freedom fighters out there who said, absolutely not. That is nature. Give it back to us. And so it wasn't until 2022-ish, 23, they put it back on the shelves. But I always say, if they take something away, you better start taking it because you know it does something amazing.
Go buy it. Yeah.
Go buy it. So NAC turns to glutathione in the body and the liver. And glutathione is one of your major antioxidants that's going to keep you healthy, clear out respiratory issues from COVID. It's going to do amazing reversal of poisoning. Like you're basically being poisoned is what's happening. So you have to think of it as a toxin and not as an illness is what I would say. And then your B vitamins, huge. I saw a huge B vitamin deficiency all of a sudden when the spike proteins were introduced to the population. And it's because your B12, B9, B6, you have to have those in order for the liver to detoxify. So as your liver is collecting all the spike proteins, which is the major area that it's kept in. So in the rat studies, they found when the spike proteins go in, most of those spike proteins are housed in the liver, in the kidneys, and in the reproductive system. So they went immediately to those ovaries, immediately to the testes to take over. And we all then can figure out why that would be programmed in that way. And so if you don't have enough of these B vitamins, your liver can't detoxify. And then on top of that, now you're depressed and anxious. So if you don't have those 3 B vitamins, you will be depressed. You cannot create serotonin. So a lot of people say, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm just depressed. I'm anxious. I don't feel good. This isn't me. What's wrong with me? And then I'll test them and their liver's crazy low in these Bs because they've been trying to clear the spike proteins for so long, for years now. We've all been doing it for years, not knowing it. So then milk thistle is a big one, just to help that liver clear in general, detoxification pathways. Vitamin C is going to work hand in hand with the glutathione, and it's also a major chemical detoxifier. And sulfur, people are extremely low on sulfur, and that sounds funny, but
do you just take sulfur?
Get like a sulfur list.
How do you take sulfur? Is it like come in something you just purchase sulfur, or
you can do it many ways? So there's radishes, there's certain supplements that are food based that are high in sulfur. So anything that stinks when you cook it, when you walk in the door and somebody made broccoli or somebody made cauliflower or Brussels sprouts, and you go, that smells like socks. It smells terrible in here. That's sulfur based. So you have sulfur.
How about garlic? Is that sulfur based? Garlic is?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. So making sure you get enough sulfur in your diet.
Garlic.
It keeps people away too, so it's good.
The detoxer of all kinds, energy, people. So those are going to be your big ones that, if you're like, what is wrong with me? There's something wrong with me. Implementing just those things, I bet many people will go, wow, that went away. I was being poisoned, basically, is what happened. So that's a huge theme right now, but something that a lot of people are not talking about. I found that just in this last year, doctors, scientists are finally speaking out about it. It's like this was something going on from the beginning, but everybody was being censored. And now you can finally go online and put into YouTube spike proteins. And now there's messages about it. And I'm so excited because I felt like I was the loony bin doctor telling people this over and over. And they're like, well, can you point me to some resources? And I'm like, no, I can't. They're all censored. So I'm excited that they're no longer censored. least for now. We'll see what happens.
There's the one guy that is actually in Texas. I know we talked about him.
Yep.
What's his name?
Artist, Dr. Artist.
Yeah, and he was also a chiropractor. I think you were you connected with him in some way, or just?
We knew of each other. He's also applied kinesiologist doctor, so he did stuff a lot like me. And I remember at the very beginning of 2020, he sent, or a patient had come from his office to my office, and they said, I just got done with this other doctor. He's crazy. He told me I have spike proteins. I think he's crazy. And then I muscle test this person. I go, he was right. So I got to be the crazy person too. But he's been a huge voice. He actually shut down his practice and went all in to uncover the truth behind why people were getting sick. And if you look up his videos, I think they're only on probably now Rumble and places like that. They're not even on YouTube. They won't allow him to be on there.
Isn't it called like Watch the Water or something with the water? Because he talks about how it's getting in the water, and that's
100%.
And how things are spreading too with the C word, that they're spreading the C word through the water.
That's right. So people think, oh, I got a virus, I spread it this way through. No. And you should all check out his video if you're interested in this, or you know people suffering, and you will be floored at what he puts together. And I think a lot of it relates to what all of you do, because he talks about the spike protein. When you break it down and you look at its structure, it is snake venom. And so when it goes into the bodies with the mRNA, it actually shifts the DNA and is basically restructuring the person's DNA to become more snake-like. So in this world, I thought that was super interesting, where here comes the reptilians, right? And just putting that whole thing together, you can see both the spiritual warfare and the chemical, biological warfare going on at the same time, like it's connected.
And it reminds me of a whole bunch of sessions I had earlier in the year about women who had issues with their womb and their cycles, and we were kind of looking into it, and they were saying there was like a tunnel there, or a black hole, or there was just something wrong. They couldn't see where it led to. It was just darkness. There was a whole 4 or 5 months of just one session after the other of women with these kind of issues, which I'm thinking, is that connected now in my head? Anyway, it just reminded me of that.
100%. I saw so many miscarriages, and that first year was devastating. And then just all of female after female after female saying, I can't stop bleeding. I don't know what's wrong with me. And I'd never seen that in my practice ever. It was rare that somebody, so especially the people who received the jab, they could not stop bleeding. So we had to detox them and rebalance their hormones.
And so are you seeing, though, that once you do the detox, you can completely get that out of the body and heal?
People are doing
as
really
long
well.
as you're,
I'm very surprised. I think that's one of those things where I have to laugh, because they tried so hard, but humanity is so resilient. I just keep saying that. I'm so impressed, because I was so scared at the beginning of this when I started to see what was happening and where they were taking this and what was really going on. And I thought, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to these people? But they've all, risen up and overcome and adapted. And I think it's truly amazing. So yeah, physically, people, if they want to, they can detox and keep their body strong. And I think just having the knowledge of it has been something that now they can keep themselves healthy, like knowing that it's out there, knowing what's happening. It's not a question anymore.
Amazing.
Holly is wondering if there's a specific detox protocol. Now, I know you just shared some things. Do you give a protocol, or do you just say, here are the things that you need to detox? And
So there are actually now, which is great, many spike protein detox protocols out there. So you can even look them up. They're a little bit different. Everybody's gone a little bit different way with them. The ones I shared are my top go-tos. But when I'm working one-on-one with a person, I'm asking their specific body, because as I kind of listed before, everybody was hit differently. So some people gathered the spike proteins in their pancreas, and now they have, 13-year-old with type 2 diabetes. And you go, what the heck? And then you have the next person with the fertility issues. You have the next male with the prostate enlargement. So really depending on where those spike proteins are being housed and where your body is struggling to get rid of them and why your body is struggling to get rid of them, I do change the protocol through the muscle testing or intuition to just ask your body, what do you need to heal? And it is different for everybody.
Rebecca asked, what's the best way to supplement the B vitamins?
If you want to do it naturally or through food sources, I would say through nutritional yeast. So you can get nutritional yeast and sprinkle it on food. I think it's really yummy. So
I like it too.
You like it too? Yeah. So
I would have never thought that has B vitamins in it.
Yeah, that's the best natural source, high source. So it's through the bacteria that it's created. And so you sprinkle it on your food and it tastes cheesy or salty. So if it's for a kid, or if you're like, I don't like to take vitamins, you can do it that way. Put it on anything, your eggs, really anything you can put it. They also have chewable nutritional yeast tablets, which I think are good. You can chew on those. Or of course you can do either a whole food, full spectrum B vitamin, or if you do a synthetic, I would say just make sure it's methylated, like a methylated version of B, so that your liver doesn't have to take the time or strain to convert it for you for the usage.
Now this is a weird question. Would crema tartar be a B supplement? Because it's from the wine production. That's the must from wine production.
I don't know. That's a really good question. But if it's is it fermented?
I assume. I mean, they get it from after the production of the wine, the must from the wine.
It could.
So
just
maybe
like
it is yeast.
Yeah. So if it's fermented with a SCOBY type material, yeast/bacteria, that's what's putting out those B vitamins. So it very well could. Like beer has B vitamins. So some people will crave beer because of the B vitamins.
People are going, yes.
So I guess
that was healthy.
Don't say that.
I guess the question would be: is it all right if the yeast is alive or dead? Because that's a living being. If the yeast is dead, is the B vitamin still in that?
It does in the way that you would freeze dry a whole food supplement and retain the nutritional value. Yes.
Okay.
But life force energy, it's funny you bring that up, because some people will show me, I want everything alive. I don't want anything synthetic or in pill form. And I'll ask their body, why? Why does it matter? And they'll say, because I need the energy from it. I need the life force energy of it. I don't really need the synthetic B vitamin. I need the energy that it's providing for the healing for my body. So yeah, it might be a better source.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Holly had asked, is there a better brand of the vitamins?
I would always just stick with something that's whole food, organic, non-GMO. So there's a lot of really great companies out there, but making sure, and I always try to see who owns them, right, too. So something that originally came out as a great whole food organic vitamin, sometimes they get purchased by the big companies, and then all of a sudden it changes, and when I muscle test it, it doesn't test the same anymore. So yeah, there's a lot of companies that would be great. And you
standard process is one that I have a whole cabinet full of standard process, because I've worked with Emily for a while now. I'm like, what's going on here? And then I'm like, I have a plethora. I probably have their whole lineup just about.
But we can muscle test for that to find out what brand that your body needs. Which one's good for you?
Exactly.
Perfect.
Because some people are okay with synthetic vitamins. They're fine with that. And then other people's bodies say, absolutely not. I don't want anything to do with that synthetic vitamin. So it is very personal to people.
Elise is asking if a countertop water distiller filter will filter the nanos.
They do not. I have tested almost every filtration system I can think of. And all I can come to is that there's got to be some sort of frequency machine that disables it, right? When you think about what it is. So it's not a matter of adding a chemical or a carbon-based, or it's, like I said, it's more of an alive structure that's extremely intelligent. And our filtration systems are not up to par with what this new technology is.
So Heather Fasari is asking about, what about the diatomaceous earth? Will that flush?
It seems like that's been very helpful when somebody's having trouble just getting it out. So if it's stuck in a specific organ creating symptoms, I would say make sure to couple it with the organ's specific need of nutrition, whatever that may be for that organ. But the diatomaceous earth, especially say you went to a restaurant and you just drank a whole cup of the tap water that they brought you, and then you went, oh, whoops, I wasn't supposed to drink that. Or you drink it and you go, wow, my stomach doesn't feel so good all of a sudden. Or you get a headache, or you have some sort of symptom that your body's like, ooh, I identified something in this water I don't like, and now your immune system's going after it. Putting in the diatomaceous earth at that point grabs hold of everything within the whole intestinal tract. Mm-hmm. So I'd almost say it's more specific to the digestive tract than the separate organs. But yeah, it has been helpful, because most people, you can treat it like a parasite and it will come out. So whatever you would do for a parasite, a lot of times that will work. And if that doesn't work, you treat it like you've been poisoned, like you have like an arsenic poisoning, and then that will work.
This is awesome.
Well, and we, when we were asking, because that is how we first met, is you were coming in asking in sessions like what's going on. But as we asked, because we've asked multiple times in different sessions, and it's come through that it's just a technology. It's the guides have said it's an off-world technology that we can't understand and should not be here. It should have never come to this planet, but here it is. And they said it's something that we can't understand and understand truly how it really works, which is why it's so hard to deal with.
Exactly.
Something beyond our understanding.
Yeah. And actually, on that note, this is something to bring up too. I've seen people, especially who got the jab, then afterwards they saw the repercussions or just health issues from it, and they say, I want to undo this. I don't want this anymore. I regret this decision, or I wish I didn't put that in my body. Multiple times I've gotten, and I think it may have even come up in sessions too, I don't remember, but their bodies will say, you have to, and I think all of you probably are familiar with this part, they also have to say, you no longer have permission to reside in me. It's like it is an entity. It's so strange. Like it's not just a particle. People think of it as a particle, but it's like a energy force that they consented to. And when they consented to it, now it can be with you, and it can wreak havoc on you and change your mood and make you feel thoughts. But then when you say, I no longer give you permission, that's when I've seen people start to turn it around. Because I've worked with people where I've given them all the supplements, I've told them everything to do, and no change. And I finally started asking, what do they need to do? What is it? And they say, they consented for it to be there. They have to revoke that consent. And that's come up. Yeah. They have to take away that consent and say, you can't be here. So it's almost like an entity, even. So it's so diverse. It's so interesting.
That came up in one of my sessions a while back, and that video got banned.
You had a video banned?
I had a video banned.
Yeah. Wow.
Where she talked about basically you can think your way out of the effects of the jab by doing similar things. It's now on BitChute though, everybody.
What's the name of that video? If anybody wants to go
Yeah, we
listen,
need to-
do you remember?
What did I call it now? Oh, Alice, I need your help. What was it called? I'll post it again. It's on my community
Was
page.
it one of Alice's
No,
sessions?
but Alice has got a good memory.
Mm.
Anyway, it was banned, so
Mm.
they don't want that kind of information
Wow.
out there.
I don't.
Yeah,
It
I think that
violated the vaccination, jab information, something or other.
Video will be gone. It's okay.
So we have what about frequency work in water to disable it?
Yeah. Yes. That is something. That's kind of the path there. Like I told you guys, there was a scientist. I think he was a scientist. I'm not sure what he did as a profession, but he basically figured out frequency is the way you disable it. And it's interesting because that's come up in sessions with Heather where they say you're disabling the frequency of it, and it's basically shutting it down. It's like a tiny computer, and frequency comes up against it, certain high frequencies, and it can literally disable it and allow the body to flush it out.
Wonder what frequency it would have to be. Would it have to be a really high frequency, like the crystal frequency, or 528, the healing frequency? What do you think?
A good question. I've actually never muscle tested that before.
Maybe we don't have to do that then. We'll have to get back to you on that question.
That's a very good question.
I know when I had Willow and she was going through her little health issues, my bunny, and we were trying to figure some of those things out. Or no, it was Aspen, but one of the things was coming through was change the frequency of her water. And we were sitting there talking. I was like, well, how do we change the frequency? And then it just like dawned on me or you to put a crystal in her water and shift the frequency. And after I did that, I put a little pink calcite crystal in her water, and the issue just stopped. I don't know, but it was like shift the frequency of the water. So I almost wonder if that was because of what's in the water.
Yep.
Too.
Right. Yep. At that time, I didn't know. Yeah, but it came up as frequency. You're right.
And it was probably also a learning for us, for you, like starting to get you to think about the waters and frequency as this was coming through this information.
Yep. The pets have been the ones who, so many pets. I don't really even technically do pets, but I get calls about pets all the time. But they're the ones usually drinking the tap water. So unfortunately, in the last couple of years, I've seen so many pets pass away. You think, what is happening? So many people's pets are passing away. And just in the past year, finally connected it. Dogs were starting to show me, it's in my water bowl. It's in my water bowl. So when muscle testing the dogs, they would show that. And they were the ones who I thought, oh, they're sacrificing themselves to show us what we need to know. So
Scott has a question. He says, how is a person with Rh negative blood affected by the spike proteins? Do you know?
That's interesting. There's that whole theory that people with the O positive are supposed to be the most hardy against them. So apparently your bloodline does matter now.
Oh, are you O positive, Tony?
Yeah.
And that the other, especially the Rh negative, and then the more rare blood types like the AB negative, are supposed to be more affected. And I have seen that to be true. And I don't know, I have two theories. So these are just my theories. One is that with different blood types, you have strengths and weaknesses. And I see that to be true across the board. So usually the O's are my hardy blood types, where I always say, like, if there's ever a famine, the O's are going to be the last man standing, because their bodies are so resilient with protecting themselves, keeping weight on, like they're hardy, right? And they protect themselves. And so, but the A's, the whimsical A's and the ABs usually are more affected by anything of the circulatory system. And so since this is very much something that travels the circulatory system and creates a lot of issues on many levels, there's that. But then I'm sure all of you have heard, I'd like to know all of your perspectives. I've seen many places where the blood type also connects to your star line or your star family or where you originally came from. It's like a clue. I don't know if you, I don't know.
Guess
And
I've never really questioned that.
That's never come up for me. No.
Really?
We need to find that out then.
Oh, yeah.
I have heard something with the Rh negative bloodline, and I don't really know a lot, but there's something about that bloodline that's either very psychic or very connected, or there's something, but I haven't dug into it enough to be able to speak to it.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder, you know, they have those bloodline kits, right? That they came out with a couple years ago, and they want you to turn in your blood so that they can tell you where your heritage is from, right? And then we look back and everyone goes, oh my gosh, everyone just submitted all of their blood for them to study what kind of bioweapon is going to take us down. So I do think they did their work in their studying and figured out who they would like to target. Yeah. So.
And I think I watched something where they said, if you follow who owns that, yeah, it goes to the wrong people.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me see any questions coming in. Let's see. What do you think the new babies coming into the world now will experience for changes to their DNA, seeing many new mothers ready to have their babies?
Yeah.
Are you working with any babies or any little ones?
Yes. It's interesting. I would say that a lot of the new babies intuitively, when they arrive, or even when the mom's pregnant at this point, they're all showing me, and I know in the sessions it comes through too, that they're all here for this huge change. Like they're coming in on purpose. They're some of the strongest souls. They're some of the oldest souls. They're some of the wisest souls. Like one of my patients just recently had a little one, and I just saw her as an angel, and it was like, I'm here to help. And that's like her huge message to her mom. So I definitely think no matter what changes they try to have happen to everyone's DNA, I think these souls are 100% stronger than anything they thought they could do to humanity. And they're in for a big awakening, not us.
I love that.
And that came through in a messages session. They were asking, someone was asking about formula, and she felt like the formula may have been contaminated by the dark. And the guides came through and sort of verified that, but said that the little ones are so powerful now that they have the ability to transmute that, that it would be healthier to put them on something more natural so they didn't have to work so hard, but they're so powerful right now, they can transmute that energy. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty amazing.
Wow. Alice asked way up top here, could you use homeopathy? Oh boy, I can't pronounce that. Can you see that, Heather? Arsenicum? Arsenicum?
Arsenicum?
Arsenicum.
I'm trying to find it.
That?
Oh, arsenicum. Maybe. Is that right? Okay. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's interesting. I have dove into the homeopathics when this first came out because the body would tell me frequency, frequency, frequency. And it makes sense if this is a tiny computer that we need to take offline, basically, disable it, right? So if it's disabled but in your body, it's not doing anything. But if it's online and you're connected, that's different. So disabling it through homeopathy works as well. So I did have a time where I was putting together mixtures of different formulas that were helping. But it was, once again, a little bit different for every person. So I think that just comes back to your own frequency and what your frequency needs in order to fill the gaps to overcome the nanotechnology. So, but yes, it does. So if you have a homeopathy machine where you can create your own, or if you just want to play with some, I love homeopathy because you can't go wrong. Either it's going to work or it's going to do nothing. That's the beauty of it. It can't make you sick. You're going to be fine with it. So you're going to try certain ones out. Try some, like you said, for arsenic. Try some for parasites, and see if that's the one that you need.
Do you think this nanotech is the black,
Goo.
GOO? Is that what we think it is?
It seems like it.
Yeah.
Very dark, very awake. It's very, yeah.
Yeah, because we've seen that come up I have in quite a few sessions.
Black goo, just people get covered up in it.
Wow. Yep, like it's definitely trying to turn off some lights, but that's why you're all here.
Yeah.
Right.
So what else has been coming up apart from the spike doodads? I don't know what we're allowed to say.
Doodads, did you call them doodads?
Doodads.
Doodads. I think a lot of it is the awakening for people. It's so funny because they'll describe it as a health something, and their bodies will just say it's because they never saw this before. It's because they were never awake to this before. And so sometimes they'll say, I'm depressed. What's wrong with me? Is it neurotransmitter imbalance? Am I low on some supplement? And I'll ask their body, and their body will say, no, it's because they're seeing things they weren't awake to before. And it's a lot to take in, and it's completely okay. And they're on a perfect path. But they need some support, and they need some people. That comes up all the time, right, Heather, in the sessions. Everybody's looking for support right now because I feel like people are waking up so fast, so rapidly, that they think there's something wrong with them physically. They go, there's something wrong with me. I'm super anxious. I'm super depressed. I've never had those terms thrown out so much in my practice. Even little kids coming in anxious, depressed. And people are trying to medicate them. Like, no, don't shut it off. Let it open. Let it come in. Let them see what needs to be seen to make the changes. Yeah. So that's a huge one, is emotional stuff going on with people.
Definitely.
And there was Time Dreamer in the chat ask about boron. Do you have any knowledge about boron and being able to disable the nanotech?
It's going to be similar to the diatomaceous earth. So people have had good results doing it. I know I'm not supposed to say that, but they have. So what are you going to do? So yeah, a lot of times you can go online now and look up all these remedies, even on TikTok. Right, Heather?
Yes.
Heather's a TikTok fan, right?
A little bit.
And there's something to them. It's true, because it is going in there and basically cleaning out your system, kind of like you would clean out a parasite. Like, they're hard to get rid of. So you got to get in there and use natural resources. So boron, I would say, yeah, why not? Little amounts, of course. Make sure you look up how to use it. Don't just take a whole bunch.
Is boron more just cleaning out the digestive tract, and it doesn't really get into the...
I would say it's similar in that way, because when it comes to your organs and your mind, your brain, the body is super protective. And so even when you have a traditional parasite, say you have parasites in your spleen for years and it's been hiding there, taking just the normal parasite stuff, sometimes the body won't see it. Only your own immune system is allowed certain places in the body. So cleaning out the digestive system is the easiest, step one, and that's going to get rid of an abundance of them. And then next would be, okay, what are my symptoms and what do those mean as far as where my body's storing these spike proteins? So if my symptoms are anxiety and depression, you could have some that have crossed the blood-brain barrier and are having an impact on your brain itself. And so I feel like a lot of people have had that kind of mind shift and they don't know what's happening until they get it cleaned out and they go, there I am. Now I feel like myself again.
Mm.
Wow.
That's just deep.
Deep.
I'm a deep thought.
I know, me too. And it's just kind of like sometimes where do you start? But then the whole muscle testing thing makes sense. Just start with the basics, right?
Yeah, just start with the basics. Just ask yourself, you know, is this something that I'm putting in my body every day? Yes. Okay. Where am I getting it from? And it's different for everybody. So it's kind of just a hide and go seek, trying to figure out, you know, if I could follow people around every day, I would, because then you could really tell, you go, that's what you did today. I knew it. You did do it. Because a lot of people, you just don't realize what you do on a day-to-day basis. And you go, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not, you know, that's not my problem. Then you'll find, yeah, it is. So just being really aware of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis and cleaning out your body. Right now, I would say if there's anything you can do for your bodies, it's to keep them really clean, because we're in this state where they're throwing everything at us on a physical level, you know, from the skies to the water to the food. I'm sure you've seen all of that going on.
Yeah.
So just being really aware and selective and standing up and saying, no, I'm not buying that anymore, because it's not okay that you're poisoning everybody, and, you know, putting your money where your mouth is and your heart is, so that we can all come together and say, enough is enough. We see your game, and we're going to support our local farmers who aren't doing this. And we're going to, you know, making those choices so that we can all do it together to take care of one another, so that we can all survive together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just wonder what we did with our kids, because my 18-year-old, my kids complained of stomach issues all the time, anxiety. I mean, even all their friends have anxiety issues, stomach issues, and, you know, trying to figure out what they need is difficult at times to try to get them corrected. But what was it in the shit that we gave them? How did we get here?
Little by little. Well, you know, I would say too, that's something I've seen come up, like you said, just in this last couple years, that the school age children are having a lot of different issues like that. And really, I would say for them, I've seen the highest percentage of them it being an emotional or spiritual thing, not so much a physical, chemical. So I'm always surprised to find out, no, chemically they're strong. Chemically, they've overcome much better than the adults have overcome all of this stuff they're throwing at us. And that they're just here on a completely different level than we are, to go into the schools. And we've had clients and patients with Heather too, that shown us like they're here to go into the schools to transmute the frequency of the whole school for the other children. And they come home and it's like they're carrying it physically, and it's so much for their bodies, it can make them sick. So they have to learn how to overcome that and learn that it's not theirs. And so, muscle testing, you can find that out, or just listening, like, oh, I'm great on the weekends. And then I go into the school with all of those energies and all of those souls, and I come home and I'm just overwhelmed and I feel sick. And you'll see, okay, what is it? Where is it coming from?
Yeah. That we've seen so many people come through that are transmuters, and they do it for other people as well. It's not just transmuting your own energy, but you can take it on and you can transmute it for someone else. But when you don't have an awareness, which nobody really has an awareness that they're doing that, you end up taking it into the body. And if you don't know how to release it, how to ground, how to get outside in nature, how to do all of those things, it gets stored and as if it's your own, but it's not, it's someone else's.
Yeah, and that's been fun. It's fun to give people plans, especially the teenagers. Usually when I'm working with them, we'll tell them what their body's saying, and a lot of this stuff comes up for them and they get a big smile on their face. And I think it's because they realize I knew I was doing all this, but I wouldn't have said it out loud, right? So they're super excited to be a part of this huge, massive thing going on, and they know it. So I'll tell them, they smile, and then we make a plan. Okay, this is what you're going to do every day when you get home. Like Heather said, like, you need to be outside for this long with your feet on the ground. You need to be singing. This is where your vibration's stuck. You need to be, you know, so it's fun to help them with that so they can empower themselves to heal themselves so that they don't have to get sick from the energy.
What are your thoughts on FLFE service for homes and devices? I'm not sure I know what that is.
I'm not sure that I know what that is.
FLFE service. No? Michelle, if you can tell us what that is.
So did we ever find Song's question that was kept disappearing?
I don't know if I ever saw Song's question pop up.
I saw Alice said she promised to try not to use Latin words again, Tony. And Song says, fuck, it got disappeared again.
Well, so we're approaching, for us over here in the States, kind of the cold and flu season. This is where everybody starts to pass everything around. What are some natural remedies that everyone can keep on hand to help them avoid that? Or what would you suggest?
Well, very basic stuff that you're going to go, yeah, I already know that, but I'll tell you the power behind them. So first, I'd say your vitamin D. So most commonly, vitamin D drops because you're not seeing the sun anymore. So you're not converting the UV with your cholesterol to vitamin D. So taking a whole food vitamin D is priceless because the sun is what keeps you healthy. So when you don't have that anymore, you're going to have to put it in. Of course, vitamin C and zinc, because those are major detoxifiers. I do have on my channel a video about viruses and my thoughts. So, you know, it's funny, we were taught at some point in school this, and at the time I thought it was crazy. And now looking back, as I've treated people over the years and through muscle testing, asking their body, what is this? They'll say, I have the flu, or I have a cold, or I have something, some virus. Well, now I look at it completely different, where the body shows us that viruses are just solvents that your own body makes in order to push something out of the body. It is not alive in the aspect that we think of a bacteria, where it's its own cell, living thing on its own. It cannot live on its own, and you cannot pass it. So they've actually done studies during the Spanish flu where they've taken these people who are extremely sick with the Spanish flu, and they've taken Q-tips and gotten all the mucus out of their nose and throats and literally rubbed it in others' nose and throats, trying to transmit it. They wanted to see, how long will this take to transmit to somebody else? It was not transmittable. It was only collections of people, and then they found over time it was due to what environment they were in and what was happening. So, for instance, with the Spanish flu, that was around the time that a new radio frequency had just been introduced. And so they had a huge outbreak of this flu, which was actually the body creating solvents to detoxify your cells so that you could survive. So when you have a virus, I always tell my patients that you need to look at what you're exposed to. So whether that be a frequency or a chemical or food, water, something you are exposed to. And if you say, well, it spread around my house, well, then you are all exposed to it. So a lot of it is making sure that you, once again, are able to detox and keeping your immune system strong so that it can push stuff out and not keep it in. So that vitamin D, they have found time and time again, when you're high in D, you're able to detox quickly, easily. Same with vitamin C, same with zinc. So those are the major ones. And then that's where that glutathione comes in for the liver. So it's a whole different way of thinking of it. And I know that's not mainstream, but when I muscle test people, that really comes up. It says, I'm not sick, I'm detoxifying. And the body will tell me that time and time again. So it'll only say it's sick if it's a infection like a bacteria. So yeah, you can't get an infection and spread bacteria, spread parasites, but not viruses.
Wow.
So I mean, that's what happens when we kill the parasites in our body, because we, screwed up the cloaking mechanism that they have. Then your body goes, oh shit, there's something here that's
Yes.
not supposed to be here, and then you have the flu symptoms with increased temperature to get rid of this what's there.
100%. That's right. Exactly. So they think, oh my gosh, do I have the flu now? Nope, you're detoxifying. But yes. So when you take a sample of what they're calling a virus, it's just a solvent made by your own body.
Mm-hmm.
So many things we don't know.
Interesting. Hey, well, the song did find her question here now. So do we ask it?
Yep.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. She says, Emily, you have inspired me to add applied kinesiology to my website and work more
Yay.
with my teachings.
Mhm.
Who do your books say was the founder of applied kinesiology?
Oh goodness, it's the guy, what's his name? I don't think I'll be able to remember his name off the top of my head. I would have to get back to her on that, him on that.
Is it in the body code or the body? Not that.
No. Shoot. I cannot think of it. I used to have the book. I don't know where I put it. Huge book, Applied Kinesiology, founding father of it. It's super intricate. And when you get into it, it's crazy amazing. But I'm so excited for them. It's priceless. It really is, because it means that you don't have to know everything, which is fantastic. It takes the guesswork out of it, and it makes it completely specific to that person and their needs. So I would 100% encourage you to go forth with that and practice, and it'll be worth it 100% when you're done.
Yeah. And what was the other book that we were talking about? Was it the Emotion Code?
Yeah, the Emotion Code does teach you how to self-muscle test. They do that at the beginning. And that was also written by a chiropractor. He came up with the technique. He said he was given the technique in multiple visions and dreams. He told his story. I don't know if he tells it in the book, but when I went to the seminar, he told the story that he was sleeping, him and his wife, and they woke up to find angels at the foot of their bed that delivered the messages and said, you need to bring this technique to the world because people are trapped. They can't get well because they can't release these. And showed him over a series of nights, him and his wife, how they wanted him to do this technique. And so they followed the instructions and did it, and they've been teaching it. So that book's really helpful for learning how to do this self-muscle testing.
Who wrote it?
Oh gosh, I'm so bad with names.
That's right. If you don't remember, that's fine.
Where do we have it here? Do you know his name, Heather?
No.
Shoot, I should know that.
No,
one.
I'm terrible with names.
I'm really bad too. If it comes to me, I'll yell it out.
I bought it a while back and I can't remember either.
Oh wait, it's Bradley Nelson. See, it
just
comes.
There you go.
Bradley Nelson.
You just need to take a step back. So Michelle says that question she asked, the FLFE service is life force frequency.
Oh, well, that sounds amazing.
So what are your thoughts on life force frequency service for homes and devices?
I wonder if that's kind of like those life force patches. Is that kind of similar? Or, oh, maybe it's the frequency of the Schumann resonance. Yeah, I don't really know what it is.
We're just guessing over here, Michelle.
But
it sounds amazing, though.
I have heard of frequency machines for your home. Then maybe that's what she's talking about. I just don't know the specific name.
Kind of like the Rife machine, or I know
kind of,
there's a machine, but that puts out frequencies, right? You can
Yes.
program it. Yeah.
yes, and it's to override the EMFs in your home. So it changes the frequency. So you can basically set your house to Schumann resonance, which now would be crazy because it's so high, but the earth frequency, which cancels out EMFs for your home. So if that's what she's talking about, those are amazing. And a lot of people have found that that gets rid of their insomnia, headaches, anxiousness. So if people are really sensitive to energy, which I found that a lot of people are, they just didn't realize they were, especially now we're so bombarded with energy frequencies. You know, they just added now all the 5G towers, just add another frequency. So now our bodies are trying to overcome that change, our brain. And so something like that has made a big difference for a couple of my patients. Yes.
Mm. How many times do we hear in sessions, leave your phone at home and go outside over and over and over, get out of it. It's for people too who are wanting to connect more with their guides and higher self too, because we get that question a lot.
We do.
And it's almost the same answer every time. Leave your phone at home, get out of all of your Wi-Fi and go sit in nature. And that's going to open you up to the frequency because you're in the frequency of the trees.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and switch phones off when you go to sleep. And certainly don't take them in your room. Because apparently I've heard they turn those frequencies up at nighttime.
Ah.
I know, I'm bad about that too.
Heather's not as sensitive as some, so
I just say it doesn't affect me.
Lucky.
I do not accept those frequencies. Thank you. I am opting out.
Yeah.
I was for a while playing 528 hertz on just really so low you could barely hear it constantly until I changed my office, and then I stopped playing it. But I probably should start that back up again.
Yeah, that's great. That's something that comes up for people too, that just playing something in the room, even if they can't hear it, allows that frequency to be present so they don't get pulled in or pulled down. Yeah.
I just like the bird song and things in nature. They're always great frequencies.
Oh, that's true. Nature.
Or the sound of the sea, or
Yes, exactly. I'll take an ocean sounds any day.
It's hard to get outside though when it's this hot here lately.
Oh, I know. Exactly.
I think the guide said that too. I don't know if that was in one of our sessions or another session, but they were like, we know it's hot, but get outside anyway. We're like, just do it. But we're melting.
Stop complaining.
No, just do it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
Need it. Well, this has been amazing.
It really has. And someone earlier said, you need to write a book, Amelie.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, now the guides are going to be on you about that.
Yeah.
I think that's a wonderful idea.
And Heather and I were talking before you came on. Your sessions that Heather posts always come through at the right time because you're so connected, and it's the right message that I needed to hear at that time. And I just love it when Heather posts your sessions.
Oh, yay.
Even the messages sessions are they're right, perfect.
Those messages sessions are amazing. I'm even in awe of them. I go back and listen for advice because I don't really get to hear them. So when they come through later, I'll listen and I'm like, that's such good advice. Wow. I get a lot from them. They're pretty amazing. Yeah, the guides are pretty spot on.
So it's awesome to talk.
Who do you see?
There's someone at my door.
Like, did the guide show up? What's going on?
Sorry,
it's the Pleiadians.
I will be right back, and I am so sorry.
Go right ahead. I thought the guides had just.
Yeah, some angels have turned up.
You never know, right?
Bring him in for Tuesday Talk.
Right. We'll have a special
That
guest.
would be awesome.
That would be an epic Tuesday Talks. Have the angels and the guides come in.
One day.
Right.
See, are there any other questions that we missed?
The chat has been going pretty crazy, so it's
I
a
know it's
possibility.
been great today. You guys have been
That's because she
amazing.
has so much good advice.
Yeah,
She's wonderful.
she does need to write a book.
Yeah,
We need
she
a
really
or a
does.
guide.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
All
what we
of
need, is
these
a guide.
tips. We've decided you don't have to write a book, but maybe just a guide.
Oh, perfect.
Simple steps to keep you healthy and toxin free.
Exactly.
In this cruel world.
Yep, exactly. To make it to the new earth.
We were hoping you'd bring a special guest in. You could just invite them into the show and whoever came to your door.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, come on in. I'll show you how we do things. Let me show you muscle testing on someone.
Well, that would be wonderful.
Oh,
Well, do you
man.
guys have any other questions or anything else for Emily?
Well,
Anyone in the
No, I
chat?
really,
I guess there's-
don't. I think your chat's been amazing. I've
Mm.
learned so much. I've got so many notes of
Oh,
things. I need to
good.
do.
Oh, good. That's just the tip of the iceberg of health right there. Just a
Yeah.
little tidbit.
Amy
So-
says, incredible chat, incredible information shared today. Thank you, Emily, Heather, Tony, and Cass.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Time Dreamer says zeolite for metal chelation. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's a question or not. I think it is.
Yep, I'm in agreement with that because it is a metal in nature.
Mhm.
We don't really know what metal it is, apparently from somewhere else. But but yes, that does come up for heavy metal chelation in conjunction with getting it out. Because even if it's turned off, so to speak, it's disabled, if the metal is still there, you are now connectable, right, to Wi-Fi, anything that wants to connect to you, and you're just not going to feel good. So definitely getting the metals out with any of those resources is something that everyone should be definitely put on their list of things to do for the day.
That was something that Kim had found, that documentary. The researchers in Mexico had somehow stumbled across that people who had received the jab were now registering with a MAC address as if they were a device. And they were starting to research that to figure out what that was all about. So you can see how it can connect to those frequencies and then how they can manipulate if that's, what they're choosing to do.
Yeah, and that's not hidden information. That you can go and look into the spike proteins and the nanotechnology connected to the jabs with the graphene oxide, and they'll show that it is a transmitter. That is literally what it is by nature. It transmits and connects to frequencies. And that's how it was originally studied and utilized to say, let's put this in bodies, see what we can do. So,
I posted a video on my Telegram a few weeks back about this lady on, I think she was on BitChute or something, or Rumble. They've had this technology for a long time.
Yep.
Since the 50s, 60s.
Yes.
They've been developing this.
Yes. Patenting it. Yeah. So heavy metal chelators are definitely a part of the big picture over time, just making sure to take something daily to start pulling those out.
Janine said she had a divine frequency code created for her to capsulize the spike protein. She says, I use it to encode my water. We'll have to have you muscle test it. So divine healing, a divine frequency code. Janine, where do you get those? Is there someone who does that for you? Or I'd like to know more about that. And I'm wondering, is that something that you place like under your water? I've seen that before, like something that can infuse the water, or how does that work?
And could you do it yourself?
Right.
Yeah, I've seen those before. They're like long number sequences.
Oh,
With, every number has its own frequency, right? So then putting it in a code creates its own frequency in and of itself. So I've seen those. There's actually books where you can find all the frequencies, and then you can take those numbers and like put them around your house to change things. Wherever you want to change it.
little stickers with numbers everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody was just asking that in my Telegram group about changing the frequency of water. That just came up yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
Asking if anybody does that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we're all water. So frequency is a big deal.
Chlorella is good for heavy metal detox.
That's true. I like the chlorella, spirulina. We can do the humic and fulvic acid as well. Those are easy on the body, replenish it. So you don't have to do a harder EDTA cleanse for the metals. You can use nature for sure.
Janine says, I use iTerra Care wand. I use an iTerra Care wand to encode the water. Okay, I'll have to check that out after.
Wow.
I'm going to write that down.
I think we all need one of those.
Right?
Yeah.
I think Heather just wants a wand.
I do. I do, Cass. You know me too well. I will walk around wanding everything. You will see me in the ice cream aisle. I'm just going to wand everybody who gets it. Going to have high frequency ice cream, right?
Make it beneficial. Ding.
Yeah.
So Time Dreamer, that video was Break Through the Hall of Mirrors was that video where they talked about the body being an entity. She had asked that question.
Which of your sessions was it?
So yeah, so break Through the Hall of Mirrors was the name of that session.
That'd be a good one because it's true. The body will talk on its own.
Yeah.
Separate from the
But that session was good all the way through. Just a little short excerpt of it was on the body because we asked about what diets you should be using. It was phenomenal. Basically just confirms what we all know is that body's an earth suit. We're just the living being itself. We're just helping the pilot it.
Yep.
So it's pretty awesome.
So true. So true.
Well, this has been incredible. Emily, tell everybody where they can find you, your website, if they want to set up a appointment with you.
Yeah, if you're looking for some help with your health or healing, I always say I'm the last resort doctor. So if you've been to all the other doctors and they can't find anything wrong with you, but you know something's wrong with you, I'm the one to come see. So my website is Dr. Amelie, and it's the French spelling. I think it's on the screen. So amelie.com, and that's it. So you can book on there if you're looking to check in to see what's going on with you and how you can heal. I would love, love, love to help you in any way possible.
And I can say she's incredible. I've experienced working with her several times now, and just the information, it's not just the muscle testing that you do that sort of tells you what's going on, but it's the channeled information that comes through. You're able to see things. It's just amazing how you can connect things together and even figure out how it's connected to other things in your life that just comes through for you. And I'm like, how did you know that? But you have that knowing. So it's amazing.
Yeah, I think everyone's guides are always trying to help them. So if they can connect, with me, that they're more than happy to say, this is what's happening. Please tell them this. I want to show them this. So they're always eager to try to help you heal. They just need someone to listen. So I'm here to listen, give you the information.
Yeah. And Emily also has a YouTube channel. I know you've got some videos on there. Some good videos are on there. So I've linked all that down below in the video. If you guys want to check that out, make sure to give her a subscribe and like some of those videos and give her a boost.
Yep. I haven't been very active on there.
Well, you will be now.
I'm terrible at making videos. So it's probably my least favorite
Fantastic.
thing to do, but I'm trying to get information out. So I'll keep going. I'll keep putting stuff up.
Yeah, you really should, because that was an amazing chat.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's one of my
good.
favorite chats.
Oh, good. Wow.
So I'd like to see more videos on your channel.
Oh, well, good. That makes me happy. I'm so glad. I love to share
Yeah,
All
just
the
look-
information.
Thank
lots
you.
of information that nobody really gets. You don't really know where to go look for this type of content.
Yeah, definitely. So
So Emily will now be putting out a new video every week. She's like, we're gonna have a talk about that after this.
no promises. No promises.
I was gonna say that's kind of hard,
Yeah.
difficult for us.
Yeah, right.
Well, this has been amazing. Thank you to everyone. I know we probably missed some questions. So we're sorry about that, but these were some great questions coming in, a lot of great information. And be sure to check Emily out and Kaz and Tony as well. Give them a like over on their channels.
Boop, boop.
And we'll wrap it up for today. Anybody else?
Yes.
Anything else?
Thank you, girls. It's been
Yeah,
awesome.
thank you all.
Guys. I just wanna say
Love
thank
you all.
Yeah. Thank you guys so
We'll see you
much
soon.
for having me
Bye,
on.
everyone. We'll see you next time.
All
See you
right.
now.
Bye.